Friend began to cross a flooded river in his car with me in it. I jumped out and saved his life. Then after that I got a letter from his lawyer asking for $50,000 for damages. To set the scene, I live in a part of Australia where the weather doesn't mess around. It's either drought or deluge, and when it decides to rain, it can cut towns in half in an hour. This is important. The story starts early in November. It had been one of those grim, gray days where the rain wasn't torrential, but persistent, a steady, soaking drizzle that had already turned the paddocks into bogs and the back roads into slick, muddy ribbons. Aaron and I had knocked off work early. I'm a Sparky, he's a mechanic, to go pick up a haul of car parts he'd scored on eBay. Some project car he was dreaming about, a Holden Commodore VR/VS Uda, I think. The seller was on a property way out past the usual routes, down a network of unsealed roads that were already starting to soften. The drive out was fine. A bit slippery, but Aaron's car, a beat-up 1997 Holden Commodore station wagon, the kind of car that's more Bunnings trolley than prized possession, handled it okay. It was loaded with tools, empty fuel cans, and the optimistic energy of a cheap find. We got to the property, loaded the boot and the back seats with gearboxes, differentials, and panels until the wagon's suspension was sagging. It must have added a couple of 100 kilos, easy. That's when the sky really opened up. It wasn't raining anymore. It was a solid wall of water. We hurried, throwing a tarp over the stuff in the back, getting soaked to the skin in 30 seconds flat. The seller, an old bloke in a greasy flannel shirt, just shook his head from his veranda. "Creek'll be up," he'd grunted. "Might want to take the long way back to the highway." I'd nodded, already feeling a prickle of anxiety. I'd been navigating on my phone. I knew the long way was a 10 kilometers detour that would eventually loop us back to a proper bridge over the same river system. A hassle, but safe. We set off, the wagon's wipers struggling against the onslaught. The dirt road was already turning into a shallow creek itself, water streaming down the wheel ruts. My unease grew with every kilometer. And then we came to the causeway. An hour earlier, on our way out, it had been a simple concrete slab across a usually trickling creek, maybe 10 meters wide. Now it was a raging torrent. Brown, churning water surged over it, carrying branches and debris. It wasn't just covered, it was submerged. I couldn't see the edges of the slab at all. I estimated half a meter of water, maybe more, moving with terrifying speed. "Whoa, pull up, Aaron." "No way," I said, my voice tighter than I intended. Aaron just leaned forward, squinting through the waterfall on the windshield. "She'll be right. It's not that deep." A cold fist clenched in my gut. "It's deep enough. And it's moving too fast. We need to turn back." This isn't just paranoia. It's a lived experience. 20 years ago, when I was a dumb P-plater in my first Falcon, I got caught on a causeway in less water than this. I thought I could make it. The water grabbed my car like it was a toy, lifted it, and shoved it right off the side. I remember the terrifying silence for a second after the engine died, then the roar of water, the world tipping sideways. I was lucky. The car was wedged against a tree, half submerged. I scrambled out through the window, shaken and freezing, and watched my car get written off. It is, without a doubt, one of the top 3 most terrifying moments of my life. It taught me a permanent, visceral respect for floodwater. "Aaron, seriously," I said, my knuckles white on the dashboard. "Back up. We'll go the long way. It'll only add 20 minutes. He shook his head, a stubborn set to his jaw. "The highway's right there. I can see it. I'm not driving all the way back to Old Mill Road. This thing's heavy. It'll grip." It's not about grip, it's about buoyancy and current. A meter of water can float a car. This is at least half that. I could hear the panic rising in my voice, the ghost of that cold river from 20 years ago clawing at me. "Stop being a drama queen. My car's heavier than your shitbox was. We'll be fine." He put the automatic transmission into drive. My heart hammered against my ribs. This was it. This was the exact same stupid, macho decision I'd made 2 decades ago. I wasn't going through it again. I wasn't going to be a passenger in my own nightmare. "Stop the car, Aaron. I'm getting out." "Don't be stupid. You'll get wet." "I'd rather be wet than dead." "Stop." The car. He didn't fully stop, but he slowed enough, cursing under his breath. "You're wrecking the weight distribution. We need the weight over the wheels." I didn't care. I yanked the door handle and shoved the door open against the force of the rain. I scrambled out, my boots sinking into the mud at the roadside. The rain instantly soaked through my shirt. Aaron, don't do it. It's not worth it. He just glared at me, rolled up the window, and gunned it. The wagon plunged into the water. For a second, it seemed okay, plowing through the brown flow. Then it hit the deeper, faster current in the middle. It happened in a horrifying slow motion. The front end suddenly slewed to the right, following the current. The water lifted the entire car. It wasn't driving anymore, it was floating. It pivoted, broadside to the flow, and then the water just took it. It shoved the 2-ton wagon off the side of the causeway like it was brushing a crumb off a table. There was a huge splash, the sickening crunch of metal on rock, and then the car rolled. Once, completely over, roof over wheels, before it disappeared into the deeper, faster water of the creek proper. Aaron, I screamed, already running, slipping and sliding down the muddy bank, my phone forgotten in my pocket. The car was being swept downstream, tumoring in the current. It slammed into a large gum tree on the bank, the impact rolling it back onto its wheels with a grotesque shriek of tearing metal. It lodged there, upright, but water was swirling up past the windows. I half ran, half swam through the shallows to the driver's side. Aaron was inside, dazed, struggling with his seatbelt. The water inside was already up to his chest and rising. I wrenched the door open against the current. Get out. Now, he fumbled with the buckle. I reached in, grabbed a handful of his shirt, and pulled. He came free, and we both stumbled back into the torrent, scrambling for the higher bank. We collapsed in the mud, gasping, rain pounding down on us. His beloved Commodore, now a twisted, water-filled wreck, sat half-submerged as its tomb. We sat there for a minute, just breathing, the adrenaline making us shake. Then he turned to me, and instead of the relief, the shared terror of a near-death experience, his face contorted into pure anger. You stupid bastard, he spat, water streaming down his face. You and your panic attack. I was too stunned to speak. If you'd stayed in the car, we would have made it. The extra weight would have kept the wheels down. You unbalanced it. You did this. The sheer, audacious illogic of it stole my breath. Are you insane? The water picked the car up. It didn't slide, it floated. My 130 kilograms wasn't going to save your 2,000 kilograms car from hydraulics, you idiot. It would have just meant there were two of us trapped in there. Nonsense, he yelled, getting to his feet. I felt it. It was fine until it lightened up. This is on you. We argued on the side of that creek in the pouring rain for 10 minutes, a truly surreal and miserable experience. The shock was wearing off, leaving raw, furious betrayal. I'd just helped pull him from a potential coffin, and he was blaming me for its existence. We eventually phoned for help, the police and SES. And as these things often happen, by the time they arrived about 40 minutes later, the rain had stopped and the water had receded as quickly as it had risen. The causeway was just wet concrete again, the creek back within its banks. His wrecked car looked absurd sitting there on the sandbank, steam still rising from the soaked engine bay. We gave our statements. The police officer, a seasoned-looking guy with a tired expression, listened to Aaron's version about me, unbalancing the car, and just wrote it down without comment. He then gave us both a firm lecture about the stupidity of driving into floodwaters. Two things in this country will kill you without a second thought, he said. Fire and water. Remember it. We got a ride home in silence. The silence has continued for weeks. He's avoided me at the pub, left a group chat we were both in. I thought it was just him being a stubborn, ashamed moron. I was angry, but I figured he'd eventually get over his embarrassment and we'd maybe get a beer and never speak of it again. I was wrong. On Friday, I received a letter. A proper, thick, legal-looking envelope. The return address was for a law firm in our town, a real one. I've seen their signs. My blood went cold. I tore it open. It was a letter of demand. It cited the date and location of the incident, and it stated that due to my negligent and reckless action of voluntarily exiting the vehicle, I had materially altered the weight distribution and stability of the vehicle, directly leading to its loss. It demanded I pay Aaron the sum of $50,000. $50,000. For a 1997 Commodore wagon that might have fetched $1,500 on a very good day. The rest, it stated, was for emotional distress, loss of livelihood, he's a mechanic, he can still work, and punitive damages. I read it 3 times. The language was legal, but the reasoning was pure, unadulterated Aaron. It was his insane argument, dressed up in a suit. This wasn't a legal letter. It was a revenge fantasy typed up on a lawyer's letterhead. I'm sitting here, holding this absurd piece of paper. The friend I pulled from a wreck is trying to sue me for the price of a new car because I didn't want to drown with him. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Update. Okay, wow. This blew up more than I expected. Thank you for all the support and the sanity checking. Special thanks to the lawyers and insurance folks who chimed in. You confirmed what I hoped was true. So, update. I took your advice. I didn't contact Aaron. I went to a lawyer my parents had used for a property thing a few years back. Let's call her Sarah. She's sharp, no nonsense, and knows the local legal scene. I handed her the letter. She read it, her eyebrows slowly creeping towards her hairline. After a minute, she looked up over her glasses. Right? Okay. This is something. She asked me to tell her the whole story, which I did. She listened, took notes, and when I finished, she had a faint smile on her face. You have nothing to worry about from a liability standpoint. His argument is nonsense. But I'm more concerned about this letter itself. What do you mean? I asked. This firm, they're reputable. This doesn't read like their work. It's clunky. The letterhead is right, but the phrasing is off. It's like someone copied their style, but didn't quite get it. She tapped the paper. I'm going to make a discreet inquiry. Don't do anything. Don't respond to Aaron. I'll be in touch. That was yesterday. This morning, I got a short, professional email from her. As suspected, I spoke with the managing partner at the law firm. They have no record of your name, Aaron's name, or this matter. They did not issue this letter. They are, understandably, very concerned about the misuse of their letterhead. They have requested a copy of the document for their records. You need to take no further action at this time unless you receive further communication. Consider the matter closed. I felt a massive wave of relief, followed by a surge of anger. That absolute worm. He'd faked it. He'd forged a legal letter to try and scare me into giving him 50 grand. I hadn't even had time to process it when my phone rang. Blocked number. I knew who it was. Yeah. I answered, my voice cold. It was Aaron. No hello. Just a rushed, panicked whisper. You went to a lawyer? You sent me a legal threat, Aaron. What did you expect? You have to call them back. You have to tell them it was a misunderstanding. A joke. A joke. I couldn't keep the incredulous laugh out of my voice. You forged a law firm's letterhead and threatened to sue me for $50,000 as a joke. They're threatening me now. With fraud. You have to retract your complaint. And there it was. Not an apology. Not shame. Just sheer, desperate self-preservation. He'd been caught, and he was trying to bully me into cleaning up his mess. I took a deep breath. I thought about the terror of watching his car roll. I thought about his aggression on the riverbank. Aaron, I said, my voice calm and clear. I'd tell you to go jump in a lake, but we both know how you handle water. Then I hung up. I haven't heard from him since. I don't know if the real law firm will pursue anything against him, and frankly, I don't care. That's his problem now. The bridge isn't just burned, it's been nuked from orbit. And that's the story. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.